Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 8th June 2022. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. I am a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. This is my spiritual channel, and spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. In our few past videos, we have been discussing about genius, causal intelligence, and examples of genius and causal intelligence. We have already covered the Mool Adhara Chakra in Kundalini on genius, and we are now into Swadhisthana Chakra, where we discussed one case history in my previous video of Mr. M.S. Oberoi. Today we shall discuss about yet another example of genius, causal intelligence, and ultimate debacle. Now, this is about a well-known businessman and hotelier from Tamil Nadu, India. His name was Rajagopal, and he had a spiritual guru like average Indians whose name was Swami Kripananda Variyar. Rajagopal used to discuss his business and personal matters with Swami Kripananda Variyar, who used to give him very valuable suggestions. Rajagopal, like his own community, began his business career dealing in vessels and household items. He was a businessman trading in these items when one day he met Swami Kripananda Variyar. Swamiji gave Rajagopal a suggestion. Why don't you try your hand in the hotel business? Probably you may succeed. But before doing that, I would suggest that you worship Lord Murugan, who is the younger son of Lord Shiva. Now, Rajagopal's second son, who was called Saravana, and Saravana is one of the nicknames of Lord Murugan, who is the second son of Lord Shiva. Taking this name, Rajagopal started his hotel business. He started the brand as Saravana Bhavan. He opened one of his first hotels in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. The food was so good that it caught up with the clientele in Chennai. It was so famous that soon branches began springing up all over Tamil Nadu. They came in Kanchipuram and other cities in Tamil Nadu. People began loving the food in Saravana Bhavan. So much so that there was a queue every day to get a table for themselves while taking lunch, breakfast, and dinner. It was so crowded that people were surprised that a hotel which had started just a few years back could have become so famous. Everything went well. Soon, this company started its own franchise business, and Sarana Bhavan sprung up all over the world. All were successful. Everything was going on well just because Rajagopal had genius possessing him thanks to his causal intelligence. Things would have continued to go on well for Rajagopal, but alas, this guy slipped from his orbit of causal intelligence and went down into etheric senses. How this happened? Rajagopal was having a roving eye and he was sexually overactive. He had his own wife and family, but he wanted other girls too. Now, if this guy had been in causal intelligence and continued with his hobby, then things would have been well. But it was not to be so. What happened was that one day one lady came to Rajagopal. He asked her who she was and how he can help her. This woman told Rajagopal that she was none other than the wife of Rajagopal's childhood friend. This friend was a failure in life, and this woman came to Rajagopal to tell him that he could help his friend by giving that guy a job. Rajagopal initially took pity on this friend and gave him a supervisor's job in one of his hotels. But as has been mentioned before, Rajagopal had a roving eye. His eyes fell on this pretty woman also, who was his friend's wife. This woman was cunning and conniving. She was also very greedy and lusty. She allowed Rajagopal to get closer to her through body and love and lust. Rajagopal began enjoying this woman's lusty habits. The friend did not know a word of this. Then one day, this woman threw her dice. She told Rajagopal, because you are besotted with me and you want to enjoy me, and I also like you, hence we can become closer to each other provided you get rid of this friend of yours permanently. The very intelligent Rajagopal had slipped suddenly. Genius began leaving him slowly but steadily. Rajagopal told this woman, please plan a trip for all of us to a place called Kodaikanal, which is a hill station in Tamil Nadu. Rajagopal, this woman, and her husband went to Kodaikanal. Rajagopal had arranged everything for that particular macabre incident. In Kodaikanal, his henchmen killed this husband in a very macabre incident in which even this woman had participated. It is a fact that she was a part of this whole criminal act. Rajagopal buried this friend of his in a remote place. Both Rajagopal and this woman came back. Now both of them had become ardent lovers. And now again this woman threw her dice on Rajagopal. She told him that she wanted one of his hotels in Tamil Nadu. This hotel happened to be in Kanchipuram. Even before, after the murder, Rajagopal had told this woman to go to the police and report her husband missing, which this woman had dutifully done, and a FIR was registered. Now, Rajagopal was reluctant to give this woman any of his hotels. He was ready to give her money and gifts, but not any of his hotels because they belonged to his family. This woman threatened him. Rajagopal laughed off this threat, thinking that he was too powerful for this woman. This woman went to the police and told the police that Rajagopal had killed her husband. And not only that, she took the police to the very place where that friend had been buried. The place was dug up and the friend's body or remains recovered by the police. Rajagopal was immediately arrested. A man whose food was so good that everyone in Tamil Nadu and the world was enjoying it landed up in the jail in Tamil Nadu and he had to eat the jail food. Such is how mighties have fallen for times immemorable. From the sublime to the ridiculous, it is but a step. Rajagopal landed up in prison where this fellow had contracted several ailments, medical ailments, including heart trouble. Most of his time was spent in jail hospitals as a life sentence convict, and after lingering on for some time, Rajagopal ultimately died. This shows how a person, when he or she slips from causal intelligence to astral mind or etheric senses, suffers because his or her genius, which is a very jealous mistress, leaves him or her immediately after this person sleeps. That is all for the present. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that I can keep reminding you of my other videos. Till we meet next time in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.